least ours does, and a few others do. And I thought there were possibly 5 reasons for it. The first, and probably most trivial, is that it gives armies something to do. So nations like having armies because it looks good, it's macho, and it's a good sort of piece of PR for the nation. So occasionally you have to have them actually do something, so you send them off to some foreign war, and a few of them come back as glorious heroes and others come back in bags, and everyone's apparently happy with that arrangement. The second is associated as another form of macho, which is to do with a certain kind of male power that comes from exhibiting violence, or the capacity for violence. You will understand that, I'm sure. The third one, and very relevant to England, is that it's very good business. We're one of the biggest weapons exporters in the world, and it's a particular area of business that we rather value, which is high-tech business. It keeps a lot of things going, so it's good for the economy, actually. And if you don't have the imagination to do anything else with the economy, making weapons is always a good rule. The fourth one, I think, is a more subtle one, and it's connected with the third one. And I think it's very often overlooked. A defense industry offers so-called free market capitalist governments the chance to have something that they all secretly want, which is a command economy. Now, a command economy, as you know, is what communist countries theoretically have. That's to say, it's a completely government-organized economy. It's the opposite of a free market economy. Now, if you have a defense industry right at the heart of a nation's economy, like we do, what that means is that the government can have an area where they direct the flow of resources and the flow of research in a way that is not under the control of any democratic process whatsoever. And even better, it's all secret. You can't even inquire about it. So it gives governments like ours and like the American government, which claim to be free market capitalist governments, it gives them the chance to do what governments really like doing, which is to control the purse strings. And of course the upside of that, and there is an upside, is that they do a lot of research that private individuals wouldn't do. So for instance, this iPhone sitting on the table here, almost every significant piece of technology in that comes straight out of DARPA, Defense and Advanced Research Projects Agency in America. Sorry, this thing keeps falling off. So you might think of the command economy as the way that the government is able to direct research beyond where the free market would take it. The free market is much too hazardous for any government to actually risk. So therefore they find ways around it, and defense research is one of them. I remember at one point in the early 1980s that 40% of all scientists in Britain were employed by the defence establishment. I don't know what the figure is now. I suspect it's probably less because so many of them are now in pharmaceuticals instead. The fifth, and possibly the most germane reason for having the threat of war constantly in people's minds, is that it's a way of creating social cohesion. So you can really only hold large communities of people together by two things. One is hope, the idea that the future might be better, and that if we stick together and work together, we can make a better future. When that is clearly no longer viable, as it obviously is for at least half the population of this country, then the only other thing that holds people together is fear. The idea that not to pull together, not to make sacrifices, not to put up with the shitty conditions you're in, is in some sense treasonous, unpatriotic and actually dangerous. It divides the nation. So fear is really the product that I think that's being manufactured by the defence industry now.